Nobody expected this. Red Bull just flipped the championship script, and Verstappen's warning to McLaren ahead of Singapore is chilling. The title fight isn't closed. Verstappen's comeback energy, Red Bull's revival, and McLaren's fragile dominance are colliding under Singapore's lights. Not long ago, Red Bull looked drained, like a dynasty running on fumes. Then Lauren Mekies walked in, and everything shifted. At first, people doubted, a new leader, clever on paper. But could he fix a wobbling empire? Turns out, yes. His touch wasn't just technical, it was cultural. Engineers are sharper, morale is higher, and Verstappen is suddenly buzzing again. The garage stopped feeling heavy and started feeling hungry. Mekies brought belief, and belief turned into peace. Now Red Bull isn't patching holes. They're aiming to crush expectations. The fight's back, and Verstappen has the spark to match it. But wait, it gets even better. Because Verstappen didn't just win one race, he strung together back-to-back victories in Monza and Baku. That's not luck, that's momentum. Think about it, Piastri still holds a massive 69-point lead. On paper, it looks unbreakable. But in Formula One, momentum shifts faster than a safety car restart. Verstappen's Monza win proved the RB21 could dominate on high-speed straights. Baku showed the same car thriving in low-speed corners, two opposite ends of the spectrum, yet Red Bull came out on top in both. This is the kind of run that rattles rivals. Suddenly, McLaren's drivers don't just have each other to worry about. They've got Verstappen breathing down their necks. And here's the twist. Max isn't just hunting podiums. He's hunting the kind of point swings that could crush a 69-point cushion before anyone even realizes what's happening. The momentum isn't just on Red Bull's side, it's inside Verstappen's head. That fire is back. The calm confidence of someone who knows he's been here before. And that's the nightmare scenario for McLaren. This part blew my mind, because the resurgence wasn't magic, it was engineering. Two simple words. Upgrades worked. At Monza, Red Bull introduced a new floor design. Instantly, Verstappen found grip and balance where the car had been struggling. Then came Baku with a brand new front wing. Together, these changes turned the RB21 from competitive into dominant. And the proof? 2 wins in 2 circuits with completely different demands. That's the scary part for McLaren. It's not about one lucky setup, it's consistent. Red Bull's upgrades aren't track-specific, they're universal. They've built a car that adapts, and when Verstappen has a machine this reliable, the rest of the field should be on edge. Singapore is the next test, but the warning shot has already been fired. Red Bull just told McLaren, "We're not done." Not even close. And here's where it gets really interesting. Singapore. For all their dominance in the hybrid era, Marina Bay has always been Red Bull's weak spot. Even in that insane 2023 season, where they won 22 out of 23 races, the one they couldn't conquer was Singapore. The high downforce demands, the unforgiving heat, the endless tight corners. It's a track that exposes weaknesses like nowhere else. But Mekies isn't backing down. He's convinced the RB21 can finally flip the script. Why? Because the car has now proven it can handle 2 extremes. Monza's flat-out speed and Baku's stop-start tight corners. Singapore combines those challenges under the most brutal conditions imaginable. If Red Bull pulls it off here, it won't just be another win. It'll be a statement that the so-called curse of Marina Bay is broken. That's the kind of mental blow McLaren won't want heading into the final stretch of the season. But before we crown Red Bull, let's not forget, McLaren's pace is still scary. In Baku, Lando Norris never got the chance to unleash his full speed. He was stuck in dirty air for almost the entire race, trapped behind traffic, unable to show what his car could actually do. That's the wild card. On paper, Red Bull looked dominant, but the reality might be a little closer. Mekies himself admitted it. Judging McLaren's true pace right now is tricky, and Singapore changes everything. It's tighter, it's hotter, it's more physically demanding, and it rewards perfect downforce. If McLaren nails their setup, they could very well snap Red Bull's streak. If they miss it though, Verstappen is ready to pounce. So don't expect a one-sided battle. Singapore is a completely different equation, and neither team can afford to get it wrong. And this is where Verstappen's edge really shows. He isn't hyping Singapore, he's cautious, grounded, and almost surgical in his words. Marina Bay is brutal, 90 corners, endless humidity, and walls waiting for one mistake. But Max has been here before. 2021, 2024, title fights that went the distance, pressure that cracked others but fueled him. McLaren has pace, sure, but they don't have Verstappen's scars, his experience, or his calm under fire. That's his real weapon heading into Singapore. And here's the twist McLaren probably doesn't want to admit. Their biggest threat might not even be Verstappen. It might be themselves. Norris and Piastri are locked in an intra-team battle that's heating up by the race. On paper, finishing P2 ahead of your teammates sounds like a win. But when the gap between P2 and P3 is only 3 points, it doesn't move the needle much in a championship fight. The real swing comes at the very top. P1 versus P2, that's an 8-point difference. So what happens when both McLaren drivers are desperate for that top step? The risk of a collision, the risk of strategy games, and the risk of implosion, all of it rises. We saw Mercedes crack under this exact pressure back in 2016. We saw shades of it this season in Canada. Red Bull doesn't even have to interfere. They just have to wait, watch, and take advantage. Every scrap between Norris and Piastri is oxygen for Verstappen's comeback. And here's where it gets dangerous. Because McLaren isn't just fighting Red Bull, they're fighting themselves. Norris and Piastri already tangled once in Canada in 2025, costing the team a big result. It felt eerily similar to those infamous Hamilton-Rosberg clashes back in 2016, when Mercedes had the fastest car but their own drivers became the biggest threat. Singapore's tight walls and zero margin for error raise that risk even higher. And every time Norris and Piastri lean on each other too hard, Verstappen is right there to scoop up the pieces. The more they clash, the clearer the path opens for Max. One wrong move, one stubborn defense, and this title fight could tilt massively in Red Bull's favor overnight. But don't just take Red Bull's confidence at face value. Even McLaren's top brass are bracing for a fight. Zak Brown admitted after Baku that Verstappen is back in the game, and you could sense the unease behind his words. McLaren thought they had broken Red Bull's stranglehold in 2024. Now, they're realizing Max never truly goes away. Andrea Stella, always measured, dropped the line. You can't write off Red Bull. Not with Verstappen in that car. That's not just coach speak, that's respect, and maybe even a warning to his own drivers. Because when rival team bosses start talking like this, it usually means they know the tide is shifting. McLaren might still hold the points advantage, but when your enemies start praising your opponent's resurgence, you know they're already feeling the heat. So here's the bottom line. We are staring down the possibility of one of the greatest comebacks Formula One has ever seen. Oscar Piastri still leads by 69 points, but that margin isn't bulletproof. One DNF, one night where Singapore eats him alive, and suddenly Verstappen is right there. And if Max pulls this off, that's not just another title. That's 5 straight world championships, a feat that pushes him into the rarest air of motorsport history. Remember, dominance isn't just about building the best car, it's about surviving the toughest battles, adapting and striking when rivals lose control. Right now, Red Bull looks like a team reborn, fueled by Mech's leadership and Verstappen's unrelenting edge. McLaren has the speed, no doubt, but in this sport, the points table can flip in a single weekend. And Singapore? That's exactly the kind of place where everything could change. Red Bull is back, Verstappen is charging, and McLaren suddenly looks vulnerable. Singapore isn't just another race, it's a crossroads. Does McLaren hold their nerve, or does Verstappen flip the title fight upside down? What's your call? Drop your predictions below, and hit subscribe because the drama's only getting started.